simply giving everyone time to come into the room. We have a lot to discuss tonight. A lot to discuss. A lot. A little frustration, obviously, with what's going on. But here we are, and we have to deal with it. So let's give everybody time to come into the room, and make sure you share, like, and subscribe as you come in. Yeah, my phone died, David. Clip 4 is one that we really want. Okay, definitely. I definitely get clip 4 in, just talking to my producer. So actually, before I get going too fast and too quickly, hey to everybody, all these people, wonderful people saying hello in the chat room. Hey, Aurora. Hello to Joy over on YouTube. Darren, glad to be having an evening with you as well. Darren on Facebook. Let me get that on the screen. We're gonna make the best of this situation. We're gonna make the best of the news that's breaking. Melissa, don't. That's my baby. Hey, boy. Hey, man, don't make me come in there, man. Don't feel hopeless. Do not feel hopeless. Don't feel burst. Birmingham, Alabama is in the house. I see you on Facebook. We are packing the courts for sure. Hey, Pamela from Taiwan. Nick is here on time. Yes, you are. Braden, hey, we're going to talk about it. It is very frustrating. I'm already behind. So many people are saying hello, hello. Take a second to say hello to everyone else. And I want you to share this. I'm going to take a second to share myself. I'm about to call him by his old government name. I don't know if you all can hear him. Blake, this is a great question. Blake Townsend said, why 2022 and not 2021? Well, in order for anybody to do anything in 2022, you really have to start in 2020, right? And I'm going to go into that right now, as soon as I get a chance to share. So while I'm sharing, take a second to say hello to everyone. Yeah, what's up, man? Twitch is not live. Okay, let me check it out, see what's going on with Twitch. Thanks. All right, so apparently Twitch is not live. Let me go and see. We definitely want to make sure that Twitch is in the house. So everybody bear with me so I can figure out why Twitch is not live and make sure we can get that family involved. Well, Twitch is still trying. Twitch is trying to go live. I'm wondering what that's about. Hang on, hold that thought, because Twitch is a huge part of our support base. We don't want them to be left out by any means. So let me see if I can kill this and start it again. Yeah, we definitely don't want to miss out on Twitch. I wonder if they're limiting. Well, that really sucks. I don't want to have to do this without Twitch. But we're going to, regardless, we're going to go and we're going to do the video. If anything, I'll just put the camera here, which is going to really, really suck for Twitch. Because they're not going to get this high definition, high glossy look. And they're going to get my cell phone look, which sucks. But it might have to be that. Odd. Very odd. So let's do this. I'm going to play a clip. Let's start first with this clip from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because I want to get Twitch involved, and I'm going to go get a tripod stand for them to participate. And as I go, I want to start off with this clip from AOC. Actually, let's do this because I want to just keep rolling. I apologize to everyone on Twitch. I'll do a live. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a live for Twitch exclusively after this. Twitch only after this, because I don't know what's going on and I hate that they're not here. David, I don't know if you want to go and do a real quick live and tell them to come over to YouTube so we can include them in the stream, or just let them know that I'll be doing a live exclusively for Twitch after this. That said, I got to push forward with what's happening because what's happening is so messed up. The Senate just confirmed Amy Coney Barrett to be the next Supreme Court justice. You know that already. What do we do about it? Well, first, before we can say what we're going to do about it, we have to understand what was done to us. What was done to us was a complete miscarriage of justice in the most precise definition of that phrase. I'm establishing it this way because you need to understand, and we need to carry with us every step of the way from this day forward. We absolutely must carry with us the frustration, irritation, agitation of what they did to us. What was done to us? 2 seats. 2 seats were stolen from the balance of the court. It wasn't enough for Republicans to have a balance on the court. I think most people would be satisfied with a balance. Some decisions going one way, some decisions going another way, but you have a balance. Most people would assume that a balance would be an ideal proposition. Most people would assume that that would be the end goal for reasonable and rational people, to have a balance on the court. That was never the goal of the Republican Party. The goal of the Republican Party was always to seize power through the courts and use the courts to dominate American political life. And so what they did, not only the Supreme Court, I want to mind you that the Senate denied President Obama over 140 Supreme federal judiciary picks. They denied him. They just would not hold hearings. They denied him of all of these picks and then gave all of those picks to Donald Trump. So I want to go over it again, over and over and over again, what was actually done to us so that you carry that irritation and that agitation with you for the next 2 years, or actually until we get it rectified. So let me repeat again. What was done to us was the fact that the Republicans were not satisfied with having a balance on the court. And because their plan has always been to dominate the federal judiciary with theocrats, people who would help them install a theocracy, they denied President Obama not only a Supreme Court pick, but they also denied him 143 some odd picks throughout the entirety of the judiciary. So what has been happening isn't just what we saw today with the appointment of Amy Coney Barrett, just a week. We are literally a week away from the election, which is a spitting in the face of every single one of us who have fought through what they did in 2016. In 2016, we knew the hypocrisy was the point. There's no point pointing out the hypocrisy to them because that is their strategic tool, is to use hypocrisy to obtain and maintain power. That is their strategic tool. However, we don't have to forget the hypocrisy. We need to catalog that. And I am building up the reality. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being bombastic. I'm not exaggerating. It is exactly as I am saying it. They stole a seat, not from Obama, but from the American people. And they stole away our opportunity to have a semblance of balance on the court. Not just the Supreme Court, but throughout the entire judiciary, because they have always had an agenda of solidifying the entire judiciary behind a conservative theocratic movement. Okay? We were robbed. They were hypocritical. They lied. They had every intention of doing exactly what they did. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't something that we can explain to them and say, oh, if they just knew and they understood. No, they understand very perfectly what they're doing. And they are masters of it. They are masters of deceit. They are masters of hypocrisy. And even right now, as we are discussing what needs to be done, the conservative movement is planning a full-on assault against us striking back. In other words, now that they have what they want, they have two steps to keep us from undoing their damage. Number one is to steal the election. And based on the decision today and a ruling from the court today and the dissent by, or rather I believe it was a dissent by Justice Kavanaugh, they have every intention of redoing Bush v. Gore, the Supreme Court decision in 2000 that ultimately gave George W. Bush the White House. So the very first thing they're going to do to try to keep us from striking back is to seize the White House again. So I can't emphasize enough to you how important it is that you 100% get out the vote and make sure that everybody that you know, everybody that you're related to, everybody that you're connected to, make sure they go vote before election day. Before election day. Before election day. Before election day. If you're waiting on a mail-in ballot still, might I suggest you go vote early? Because it's almost too late to get that mail-in ballot back in time before they start the shenanigans. Okay? So I cannot stress enough, 100%, the very first thing that we have to do is to make sure we get Donald Trump out of power. The Supreme Court is ready right now. They are in a position to give Donald Trump a victory that was not brought to him by the majority or even the Electoral College of the United States of America. Okay? I just have to stress this again. No matter what, go vote. Don't let this fuel you. Let this make you angry. Make them pay. The greatest revenge is not to be disillusioned or downtrodden or even to lash out. The greatest revenge is to take from them the exact thing that they are trying to get from you. Take this White House. Take it. Take the Senate. Make them pay a political price now. Not even next week on election day. Now. And we have to vote in such overwhelming numbers that whatever they try to do with the Supreme Court is null and void because it won't even make it to the Supreme Court. Now, I believe we have those kind of numbers that are turning out right now. We're seeing it across the country, numbers like we've never seen before. There are a lot of people. I think in Florida, there's 5 times as many people between the ages of 18 and 29 who have voted, early voted, as compared to 2016. 5 times as many people. I think in 2020, there's about 250,000. And in 2016, there was 25,000. Or rather 50,000. Right? Just under 50,000. And I think the next one was Michigan. I think there's like 8 times as many people who have voted in Michigan early between the ages of 18 and 30. So people are already doing it. And then the North Carolina, I think there was multiple times over the number of people. So people have already gone out and vote, and they're already making Donald Trump pay and the Republican Party pay. Keep doing it. Now, I know I spent a lot of time on that and I'm preaching to the choir, but I just have to emphasize the very first thing we do is make them pay next week. They're morons for doing this a week before the election, with the exception of the fact that they think that they can leverage it to help Donald Trump win. And this is the other thing I want you to internalize. Internalize the fact that we're dealing with a nemesis, an enemy that has no reservation about stealing democracy from you. They have no reservation, no hesitation, no fear of stealing democracy from you. The reason they are willing to risk our backlash at the polls next week is because they've packed the court with a justice that will help them win if the margin is narrow thin. That's why we have to dominate. So everybody, let's do this. Before I even move to the next point, I need everyone to open up a separate window. Don't leave the chat. Don't leave the video. Open up a separate window. And I need you to make a social media post, no matter what platform you choose, on multiple platforms. I need you to post encouraging everyone. The best revenge is to vote. The best revenge is to vote. You could phrase it however it's going to be best phrased. I can't give you the phraseology that's going to be best for your friends and your family, right? We have to dominate at the polls. We have to bring a flood. Everybody open up your window right now. If you've already voted, encourage 20 other people to vote. Matter of fact, we're going to do a get out the vote campaign right now. Get your phone and text. I'm going to do it right now. Damn it. Now, I might be afraid of calling people. but I'm not afraid of texting people. I'm going to text about 25 people right now. I want you to text 25 people right now. As many people as you can. As many as you can. You may not have 25 people to text. If it's 5 people, text them and let them know that the Supreme Court was stolen from us. And our best revenge is to vote. Let's do that. Everybody take a second to do that. Who am I texting? I'm going to text Henry, Norman, Jason, Pastor Robinson. Where's Pastor Robinson's phone number? I know I got CL in here. CL. Okay, I don't have his number. I'm going to text Tracy. I need y'all to do this with me. I'm dead. Kathy. I'm going to text Penny. I'm going to text Charles. I'm going to text. Who else can you think? Everybody take a few minutes. Take a few minutes. I don't care if you're doing 2 people. I don't care if you're doing 200 people. Open up your social media posts and get people to vote. And just see, maybe they've already voted. And this is the first thing. The second thing is just as important as the first thing, but we got to do things in the proper procedure. Number 1, we can't neglect next week. We got to put these bastards out of office. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who else can I text? I got to think about the cities that I lived in. I've lived so many different places. Oh, okay. Adam. Oh, no, that's email. Adam, AKA Spud. There. I'll do my brother. Make sure he voted. Who else I'm going to do? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more person. I can only do 10 at a time. Who else? I love this. I'll put this on the screen while I do it. Esther said, I would love to give these bleeps the pink slip next week. Who else? I just need one more. Oh, Lynn. And I'm going to say, hey, folks. Hey, everybody. I'm live on air and encouraging my audience to vote, to text their, I spelled their wrong, their friends and family to be sure to vote if you haven't already. These clowns stole the Supreme Court, and the best revenge is voting. This is this is like my inner voting they asses out. Vote they asses out. All right. We're going to do that every day. Every day at the top of every show. We're going to take 5 minutes and we're going to make sure that we've texted and called or social media posted. And again, Here's the thing. It might not move but one person, but you move that person. And that is the truest expression of democracy. Not stealing a Supreme Court and hoping that your appointee will help you seize democracy. So whether or not they, the trolls in the comment section are like, oh, MAGA 2020, whether or not they're laughing at our efforts, it doesn't matter. What we are doing is the truest expression of democracy. What they are doing is the truest expression of authoritarianism. They want to steal democracy from us. And I want you to be crystal clear about that. There's no high, low, or in between when it comes to this. That's exactly what they are trying to do, is steal democracy. And I need you to be clear in your mind, because the next thing that they're going to do, the first thing they did, is they're going to try to use the Supreme Court to steal democracy from us. The next thing that they're going to do, because this is what they do, is they're going to try to gaslight us. They're going to try to gaslight us to make us feel as though we are radical because we are going to pack the courts, that we are out of control, raging liberals and socialists who want to break the Constitution by packing the courts. Okay, first of all, we have the capacity inside of the Constitution to expand the courts. We have expanded the courts previously. This would not be the first time that we expanded the courts, so dismiss that. It is perfectly within the realm of the Constitution as well as our institutional authority to expand the courts. Okay? The only people who really broke something here was the Republican Party. They broke tradition. They broke our norms. They broke the institution. They basically broke the Senate. And they did it expressly for power. Power that they are going to expressly use to dominate this country with a conservative agenda for the next 100 years. If we don't pack the courts. And so their next move is the most insidious one. They're going to try to make you second guess the purpose and your conviction to pack the courts. They're going to make you think that you're radical, that you're an extremist, that you are a bad person. And they're going to try to make you back off so that you are more concerned with being civilized in their eyes. But you should know the gag by now. Here's the gag. You can never be civil enough for people who have committed to being uncivil. You can never be reasonable enough with a group of people who have committed to being unreasonable. You cannot negotiate with terrorists, and the Republican Party are most assuredly ideological terrorists who have shown that they are willing to destroy the entirety of this country for one cheap political win. So they have no place. They have no right. They have no standing to comment on anything that we do going forward. Barack Obama's number one failing was that he wanted to respect the institution of the Supreme Court, of the Senate, and of the balance of power, not the balance of power, but the checks and balances. He wanted to respect those institutions so much that he simply acquiesced to what the Republicans did. It wasn't because he was weak. It was because he respected the institutions more than nary Republican. There is not a Republican who has a modicum of respect for this country the way that Barack Obama did. And I've got plenty of criticisms of Barack Obama. But in this, he had more respect for these American institutions than any Republican ever had. And that is exactly what Mitch McConnell seized upon like the little stinking gnat that he is, his decaying flesh. He's so full of evil, his hands are about to explode and just decay off of his body because he's the personification of evil. And he seized upon Barack Obama's desire to respect American institutions, norms, and traditions, and he used that as a weapon against the entirety of America. So when they fix their mouth to try to make you feel like you are being too radical, that you need to back off, oh, pump the brakes, we can't do that, that's not what America's about, shoot these bastards the bird. Say, kiss our collective liberal, progressive, socialist asses because you've already shown yourself You've already shown you a fool. You've already shown that we can't negotiate with terrorists. You've already proven that you are unreasonable, and we cannot be reasonable with unreasonable people. We cannot be civil with uncivil people. You will see this entire country burn to the ground for the simple desire of getting one cheap political victory. And so when we pack the courts, shut your damn mouth and watch us work. Don't apologize. Don't relent. Don't feel any kind of reservation, because they didn't have any reservation when they stole the courts. They didn't have any reservation when they denied President Obama 143 picks and then they gave them all to Donald Trump. They didn't have any reservation when they were hypocritical and appointed somebody 1 week before the election. So why should you have any reservation when we pack the hell out of these courts? When we completely neutralize their 50-year strategy. When we neutralize what they took 50 years to do and we neutralize it in one session of Congress. Don't bow, don't relent, don't let them gaslight you. They will use your civility to control you, my friends. They will use your civility to manipulate you and to forward their authoritarian, fascistic, theocratic, fascistic agenda. Because I want you to still understand the full scope, because we're escalating. Each one of these steps is escalating. Number one is vote. Encourage everybody and their mama to vote. Next week, we're going to do it the Democratic way. We're not going to steal the election like Republicans have consistently stolen elections over the years, right? So number one, vote. And encourage 25 people in your circle to vote. There's 1,600 people watching right now. Let's take away 144 that are probably trolls. So that's 1,500 people. If each of us encourage 20 people, because the math is a lot easier, then that's going to be 30,000 people that we've encouraged to vote. That is enough for us to turn the tide in a swing state. You saw I didn't do the times 25, right? I know politics. I know I'm not a math scholar. We're escalating. Number one, vote. Number two, demand and never relent on packing the courts. We are going to pack the courts 2022. Number three, here's the reason. Here's the number one reason that I need you to understand this escalation, because what I'm getting ready to say now is going to probably make you a little bit uncomfortable, possibly. Let me see where you are on this. This is where we have power, okay? Perfect timing, Aaron. Aaron, you have perfect timing. Aaron says, Ben, you think the Democratic leadership has the cojones to pack the court when they couldn't muster the cojones to even resist this nomination? Your super chat could not have been any more timely. Yeah. Any Democrat who does not actively push for us to expand the court must be primaried. Period. Okay? 2020 is already in the books. Carry your butt out to vote. Carry your booty to the polls. Carry everybody you know. Encourage 25 people. It's in the books. We got to do it. Vote for whoever's on that ticket right now. Vote for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Vote for whoever your senator is. Vote for your Congress people. Vote for your judges and all the constitutional amendments and the referendums. Vote as is, who they are. Vote for them. How do we hold them accountable? We hold them accountable by immediately, not 2022, not 2021, but immediately let them know, if you do not support packing the court and expanding the court, we are primarying you. And this is not an idle promise. This is not an idle threat. This is a blood oath promise. I'm so committed to this that I'm announcing right now, if the person who is the congressperson in my district does not support packing the courts, I'm running against them myself. Okay? Now, I would much rather have the life of a media mogul, so I have no accountability, but it's no time for us to be playing around. It's no time for us to be lackadaisical with the impact that we could have. We got work to do. And I'm letting you know right now, I don't care who the congressperson is in my district. I know who they are. I just don't want to say it because I don't want you to know where I live yet. No matter who the congressperson is in my district, if they do not support expanding the courts, I am primarying them in 2022, and I'm starting November 5th, 2020. I'm going to raise more money than they could ever imagine. I'm going to go door to door, because as soon as I'm done with my stream, I'm packing up my bag, well, after the coronavirus is gone, and I'm going door to door. And I'm gonna recruit every single one of you, and we're gonna make phone calls. And it's not an idle threat, folks, because we have the institutional power now. We can raise money. We can run candidates. And we have every right to let the Democratic Party know, listen, we're voting for you next week. We're voting for you. But if you don't have the wherewithal, the temerity, the backbone, the spine, the cojones to pack the courts, then we as a people are obligated to replace you and do it ourselves. That's a 3-step process of how we fix this. Number 1, vote next week. Get Donald Trump out of power in a convincing fashion, which means every day between now and then, you need to convince 10 more people. Every day, 10 more people. It's going to be hard because you may not even have their phone numbers. 10 more people. Make sure that they went to vote. Number 2, once we've gotten that election, you need to steel yourselves. Every single one of you need to steel yourselves against the gaslighting that's getting ready to come from the Republican Party. And this is how you steel yourself, because you remember what they did to us. They stole an entire seat off the Supreme Court from not Obama, but from you, from the American people. They threw the entire Supreme Court out of balance because balance was not enough for them. They needed to dominate so that they can execute their agenda. Their number 1 agenda is to use that pick on the Supreme Court to help Donald Trump win, which is why we got to make sure our asses vote. But don't let them gaslight you because they have no standing. They have no integrity. They have no ground to stand on to call you radical, because you are going to actively use the institutional power granted to us by the Constitution to expand the courts, which has been done in the past. And even if they hadn't done it in the past, these disingenuous bastards have no standing to criticize us about any type of extremism, because they have shown themselves to be the ideological purists, the ideological terrorists. They have shown themselves to be unreasonable, and we cannot be reasonable with unreasonable people. They have shown themselves to be uncivil, and we cannot be civil with uncivil people. We have to fight like hell. Number 3, Democrats, this is a promise. I look good in a suit. I'll lose a little bit more weight between now and then. I don't give a damn. Listen, I don't give a damn. I will stop smoking weed long enough, right? And I probably will still. I am going to personally primary my congressperson. If they get behind it, then I'm going to be one of their number 1 supporters. If they actively get behind it, vote for it, support it verbally, then we're going to support them. We're not going to primary people just to no. If the litmus test for 2022 is whether or not you actively lobbied for, supported, and voted to expand the court, win, lose, or draw. Because if you don't do it, you're not able to do what needs to be done to secure a future that is representative of the masses. We have been dominated by an authoritarian minority that has bent every rule, broken every institution, burned civility to the ground, and weaponized our own civility against us in order to bring about a theocratic fascistic regime. We got to have people who will respond in kind for the right reason. They're willing to burn this country to the ground for the wrong reason. We got to be willing to fight fire with fire for the right reason. All right. Oh, number 4. Tea time with T. Thank you for reminding me. It's not just about expanding the court. It's also about reforming the entire judiciary, including term limits. There should not be lifetime appointments to the Supreme Court of the United States. It is too problematic, and it creates a judiciary that is completely out of sync with the majority of this country. So it's not just about expanding the courts. Number 4, we're going to reform the entire judiciary because we have the right to. Because an originalist interpretation of the Constitution tells us that we have the right to. We, the people, have the right to. And I'm sorry, whether or not you still think we are 3/5 human, we are the people. And we're coming to get what's rightfully ours. Like the video, share, like, and subscribe. Let me get these super chats on the screen. There's been so many of them since I came in. Sharon said, send my 5, ask them to pass, as you asked them to pass it on to 5 other people. Thank you for sending that text out. Let's see it again. Let's go to the next super chat. And I see my moderators are on Facebook knocking down these trolls. My man, Reginald Bailey's in the house, bro. We missed you Friday night. I know you probably were busy, man. We had a great time at the patron party. Catalot just sent $5 super chat. No comment, so I appreciate the support. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I saw a lot more super chats. I want to make sure I get them all. It's time says, vote dump Trump 2020. I voted Biden 2020. Cool. I appreciate it. Robert said, I like your life as a media mogul too, but Congressman Ben Dixon has a nice ring to it. I'm telling y'all, listen, man, I don't want to run. But let me tell you something. It's not just me. There's somebody else in this audience that's listening to me. I feel like a preacher for real now. There's somebody else in the audience. I'm talking to you. Right there, right where you are. Watching at home, watching from home. You've tuned in and you didn't expect what you were coming to, but I'm talking to you. Somebody else in the audience is in a position that they can mount a meaningful run. You have been developing yourself. You know, you have the wherewithal, you have the knowledge, you have the connections, you have some resources. You may not have, I don't have all the resources I need, but you have the capacity to link all the pieces together and mount a successful run. If your congressperson is not on board with packing the courts, then you're not going to be running by yourself. We're going to come find you. We're going to find each other, and we're going to cross-pollinate and make sure that we primary everybody, because they would have demonstrated they are not up to the task of fighting on behalf of what the people are demanding in 2020. So we're going to vote for them next week. Joe Biden, down ticket, right? But the week after, if they are not actively signifying and showing us and sponsoring legislation to expand the courts, we have to primary them. We have to. Because if they can't do it, we'll do it ourselves. We have the right to fight on behalf of what we believe. Matter of fact, it's probably just time. It's just time, folks. It is literally just time for us to reset this country towards a progressive future. It's time. Sam said, LOL, I'm sure they are shaking in their shoes, THEIR. And you, if you actually knew who I was, you would understand that they are. They really are, and they should be. Let's get some more super chats, and then I'm going to catch up with all the regular chats. Doesn't the Dem PAC plan still leave the deciding vote in the hands of a conservative judge? Dems won't save us. We need to organize. We need to keep us safe. No, it's an act of Congress, right? It's an act of Congress in the Senate and signed into law by the President of the United States, right? The only thing that could stop us is if Donald Trump wins the White House and if Mitch McConnell remains the Senate Majority Leader because we didn't flip the Senate. But we're in a strong position to take the White House and flip the Senate. And with the White House and the Senate and the House of Representatives, there's literally nothing stopping us from expanding the court except the willingness of Democrats. And if they show us in 2020, 2021 that they're not willing to do it, then they are certainly not willing or are deserving of remaining in power. And it's not even about threatening. We're well past threatening to not vote for somebody, right? Put that as, we're not withholding our vote. We're going to primary your ass. Okay? We're going to for a congressional seat, you need to raise about $2 million. That number may have changed a little bit over the last couple of years, but $2 million puts up a pretty good successful run. We have demonstrated as progressives alone our ability to raise tens of millions of dollars per organization. Okay? We can mount well-funded, sharp as hell challenges to anyone who does not have what it takes to expand the court, to stand behind expanding the courts. So we're all that, I'm withholding your vote. No, forget that. No, we're primarying you. And we're going to primary you in a very spectacular fashion. And don't you see, listen, in 2016, we picked up 1 or 2 progressive seats. It escapes me. 2018, we picked up the squad. We picked up 4 seats, right? In 2020, we picked up Mondaire Jones, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush. That's just to name a few, not to mention all of the squad that we retained. And I'm mentioning that group is because all of those people challenged institutional power, challenged incumbents, challenged establishment Democrats. Now, we could leave you in power if you do the right thing. But if you don't do the right thing, this movement is going to grow exponentially. And in 2022, we're going to have at least 10 to 20 new progressives go to Congress to replace anybody who did not vote to expand the courts. Because we have the structure, we have the email list, we have the fundraising capacity, we have the connection with the grassroots organizations, we have boots on the ground. We have way more in 2020 and 2022 than we had in 2020, than we had in 2018, than we had 2016, so on and so forth. I mean, see, let me put this other question. I don't have to grow up here and play this game. Okay. All right, I see what you're saying. You weren't talking to me. You were talking to Democrats. Okay, good. Nick said Kamala would give them the balls to back the courts. Congress follows the vibe of the president and the vice president. So if Kamala pushes for it, they will follow. Yeah, no, and that's straight out. Like if the White House pushes for it, the Democrats have to fall in line. That's period. If the White House pushes for it, the Democrats have to fall in line. Let's say, peradventure, that the White House doesn't push for it. Let's say that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris decide to be civil. If we have a veto-proof majority, there's nothing that they could do except sign the legislation or look like fools. This is the instant. And how do we get a veto-proof majority? We let every single congressperson know. Senate would be a little trickier because not every senator is up for re-election immediately, right? So we have to look at the numbers and see what kind of pressure we can apply on the Senate. But in the House of Representatives, they're up every 2 years. We get a veto-proof majority from the House by letting every Democrat know. And it's still going to be tricky. It's not guaranteed, depending on how the election actually pans out, because a veto-proof majority means that we've taken a lot of Republican seats. Nothing is guaranteed, except for the fact that if my congressperson doesn't support it, I'm primarying them. Thank you, JB Silver, for the super chat. Rob Dobbs said, where do I send my money? Now stay tuned. I'm going to give them a couple of weeks. I'm going to give them a couple of weeks to figure out. And I'm not waiting until 2021. I'm not waiting until 2021. I need to know from them where they stand and where they're going to fight. And I'm going to observe them through 2021. But as I observe them, everybody should be preparing to primary them. Start your fundraiser, start your committee, all that. Get your people in place. So that if they back down and don't do the right thing, we're already in a strong position to primary them. Joe said, who holds Chuck Schumer and Pelosi accountable for legitimizing these hearings? They'll be fine, and average Americans will feel these effects for decades. Right, because, I mean, they're old. They won't be here in decades to feel the damage of the Amy Coney Barrett, right? We hold them accountable. And to be honest with you, it's going to take powerful people in the House and in the Senate already who could hold them accountable. People with power have to go head to head with people with power, right? It's going to take people with power. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to take an AOC. I guess I'm going to say more. It's going to take people with fundraising capacity to go head to head with them. Now, again, I want you to be sure. Next week, we're going to vote for all of them. I mean, we're going to vote for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, whoever your senator is, whoever your congressperson is. Vote for them, or, you know, whoever you want to replace your Republican senator or your Republican congressperson. We're going to vote for them, and we're going to encourage everybody to go out and vote, because that's what needs to be done. We can't get any victories if we are not in power. So first, we got to seize power. Then secondly, we got to hold that power accountable immediately. We're not talking about organizing in 2021 for a run in 2022. No, we're talking about organizing these last couple of months in December of 2020, next month, to make sure they understand how serious we are. More comments, more comments. Dems are not packing the courts. The base loves Barrett. See, Gio Francois is always in the chat room, and he always spends money to say stuff, right? So that's why I read his stuff, because he leaves it in super chat. But I'm going to, before I go ham, I'm going to give you a moment to process what I've already said. Why are you waiting on Democrats when you can apply the pressure on Democrats? Because we have the model and the institutions to get their asses out of power. This is far from an idle threat. We have been knocking off establishment Democrats every single primary season. And we're going to continue that model. And if they don't want a serious primary challenge from a well-funded opponent who can outraise them, who has more social media reach than them, I'm not even talking about me. I'm talking about you and the audience, right? It's not about me. It's about you. We're going to come find the person in your district who has the wherewithal to do this, and we're going to put the entire machine behind them. The entirety of the ability to raise our revolution, brand new Congress, Justice Democrats, hell, the Squad PAC, AOC by herself, right? You have all these institutions, not to mention all the independent media organizations that we have, and with the capacity to push phone banking and texting and all. We have the institutional power to literally hold them accountable or give them the challenge of their life. You know how many people, you know how many these clowns haven't run a real campaign because they haven't really been challenged in a significant fashion? Look at Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is getting ready to lose because he hasn't had a meaningful challenge, and now he's got a challenger who's able to outraise him. So I'm going to let you process that before I go ahead. Let's read a couple more super chats. Randy's context said Biden should appoint Barack as Attorney General as payback. Aaron Davis, you've been in my church before. Right where you are, right where you're standing, right there. Extend your hand out to the audience. I appreciate y'all. Carla said, keep preaching it. It takes all of us. We all have a role to play. Absolutely. Ben, we need, this is from Just Me. We need people in Congress funded by the people, not big donors that are working behind the scenes to benefit the wealthy. I would donate to you. And that's the, thank you for that. That's the beautiful thing about this, right? The beautiful thing about this is that the capacity that we have created since 2016, right? It's been 4.5 going on 5 years of relentless efforts, building a fundraising infrastructure that doesn't need corporate donors. We have the ability to raise enough money to run a presidential campaign with small donors. Thank you, Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Nina Turner. Thank you, the entire progressive movement. Thank you, Brand New Congress. Thank you, Our Revolution. Thank you, Justice Democrats. Thank you, all the organizations that I don't even know by name, right? We have the ability to raise into the hundreds of millions of dollars in small donations, which means that we can put in an entire breed of Democrat that does not have to answer to corporate America. And they know this. And I'm telling you this. Listen. I hope that I can finish building this media company. Okay? I hope that I can finish building this media company. And then I hope I can take an entire year off. I told my patrons this today. I need to take the next 1.5 years to build this media company so that I can take a year off and write this book that I've been trying to write for years. And then I want to put the book out and it'll be a bestseller. And then me and my wife can donate money to, like, you know, we love donating to churches right now. We're going to start donating to, you know, certain type of churches. You know, we don't mess around with evangelicals. We support liberation churches, but we're going to start pouring in money to you know, that's what I want to do. I said all that to say I don't want to run for office. Okay. But I can't ask you to do something I won't be willing to do myself. And if my congressperson, who I guess I'm going to have to announce pretty soon here, because I've been trying to avoid people knowing where I live, or at least the state and the district that I live in. But I'm going to announce pretty soon who they are, and I'm going to ask them very directly, do they support packing the courts? And if they don't support packing the courts, I'm not going to look for anybody else to run for office. I'm going to set all my little, you know, all of my daydream fantasies aside, and I'm going to use everything that I have, and I'm going to run. And I'm going to encourage every one of you who is in a position to do so for you to mount a run, only if they are not going to support packing the courts. That's got to be the litmus test, because how else? It's about nothing else other than the fact that we have to do what must be done to put back into balance what the Republicans have destroyed. Got muted in Twitter as I shouted down trolling fascist supporters. This is Mountain of Despair. Anyways, have a drink on me. Thank you. I'm not sure if, are you saying that I muted you? I'm not sure. But thank you. I will have a cup of coffee on you. Let's see who else is Mountain of Despair sent another one. Run local, everyone. We must take all seats of power. Thank you for this, right? Because the congressional run is an expensive run, right? Like I said, it's probably starting around $2 million that you need to raise from small donors to be able to mount a successful challenge, probably more. But you still have your state and local legislatures. You have state legislatures and senates, and then you have your congressional seats, your council people seats, right? Depending on how your city is structured. So there are local races, so that even if you are like an individual who perhaps you can't mount a district-wide run, you could mount a successful run for your city commission. You can mount a successful run for your state senate, for your state house. And let me tell you, that's the feeder system for the Congress, right? And so if they're not willing to do it on the state level, if they're not willing to endorse it in their state level, they certainly aren't going to be any use to you in the Congress, in the U.S. Congress, in the U.S. Senate. So yeah, if you can't mount a successful district run, congressional run, run for your state senate and run for your state legislature, or even run for your city commission. But we have to replace this entire breed of political leader that is beholden to corporate America and beholden to the idea of civility at any cost. And right now that cost has been the entirety of the federal judiciary, not just the Supreme Court, but the entirety of the federal judiciary. Thank you for that mountain of despair. Very good point. Very excellent point. We needed that. Let's see if there's any more super chats that I've missed. Don't want to miss super chats. Sorry to everyone on Twitch. I really hate that. I am going to. Philip Perez said I skipped your super chat. All right, so I'm going to go back and read the producer's chat. They have it in there. But actually, let me see if I can scroll back up. Philip Perez. Okay, no, it's too far back up. I'm going to go to the I'll get it from my producers. Thank you for that, Philip. Thank you, Ria, for the super chat. As I scroll through these, I want you to remember, number one, next week we vote. And every day between now and then, we encourage as many people as we possibly can to make sure that they have either voted or they're going to vote. Number two, you steel yourself. Make sure that you preserve your confidence that what you're fighting for is right and it's just. And that we are not the radical ones. The radical ones are the ones who seized power and stole it away from us all the way back in 2000. This started in the year 2000 with the Supreme Court decision that appointed George W. Bush as president against the will of the majority of Americans. That's where it started, right? But now they've been carrying out a rabid agenda of radical right-wing extremism to control this country, even though they are in the minority. And this is the culmination where now they have dominated the Supreme Court through treachery, through lies, through hypocrisy. And they're going to want to convince you that you're the radical. You're not the radical. You're fighting for the right thing. It's 10:34. I need to go to bed. Let me just read a couple more super chats. Labor did 2,000 people on the ballot for the year 2000. It was a surge called 2000 for 2000. I love it. We could replicate that now. And we only have a week. And the beautiful thing about this is we're already doing it. We're already breaking records. Like I started the episode out, the stream out. There's 8.5 times more people who voted in Michigan between the ages of 18 and 29 in 2020 than did in 2016. In Florida, 5 times more people voted so far in early voting in 2020 than they did in 2016. Like we're already breaking records. So all we're doing at this juncture is just like the last minute push, because the organizers have done their work. The organizers have consistently and diligently understood what we were up against. And so they have been organizing on a massive scale across the country. So all we're doing is just like the not even the icing on the cake. Like we're doing the little dollop at the top, right? Because the activists and the organizers have been building a firm foundation over the last 4 years to ensure that we got a massive turnout in 2020. And that's what we're seeing right now, right? And then the phone banking and the texting that has been going on all the time. I get like 3 texts a day, and I don't get mad at any of them except for the conservatives. I cuss them out just because I want to make them feel miserable, right? But the icing on the cake has been all of the people who have been implementing the strategy in 2020. All we're doing with this, with our 1,300 people and, maybe extended that out to 30,000 people, it's a little dollop. It's just a little flare on the icing, right? It's the smallest part. But it could be a critical part, because if it comes down to 10,000 people in a particular district, it matters that you encourage 25 people to go vote. Nerdy Gamer said Mrs. Dixon is in for a wild ride. I asked my wife, when did she realize that I was different? And she said, when I asked her to marry me 2 weeks after meeting her. That'll do it. And I said, well, you the crazy one for saying yes. So we've been on a wild ride ever since. And it's just getting better and better, gooder and gooder. Thank you. Dessa Brown said, needs to pressure Governor Newsom of California to pick only someone in favor of court packing if Biden, Harris win. We can't leave that out. We can't leave that out. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Mary Beth O'Neill said, my worry, so many people early voting, but it may only be because they don't want to vote on election day. So these numbers may not be a blowout, right? Demographic wise, they are overwhelmingly representative of a demographic that votes for Democrats, are going to vote against Donald Trump. So the fact that we are seeing 5 times the turnout in Florida of millennials and Generation Zers, you know, you're going to have a small percentage of those people who do vote for Donald Trump, but the overwhelming majority of them are voting against Donald Trump. So don't count on it being a blowout. Let's make sure it's a blowout and push as many people to the polls as we can. And we're not going to count our eggs before they hatch. All right, let's see. Jonathan Hawkins is not having it on Facebook. I'm not going to post your comment, but I see you, fam. Good God Almighty. Y'all are wild. Oh, man. Protect your space, folks. Don't let these. There are paid trolls in every single one of my streams, on every single one of my videos. I guarantee you. Don't let them gaslight you. All right. That's it. I got to the bottom. I got to the bottom of the comment section finally. We got our marching orders. I want to give a shout out to my producers, David, Jake, and Max, for preparing an entire episode full of content. I am going to roll out that content tomorrow. But because of the breaking news, I needed to make sure that we focused on this. I have an entire docket. I have 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 4 rows, five rows of videos that they prepared for me to share with you. And but I want to keep the focus right here. There's a video from AOC that I want to share, but I will share it tomorrow on all my social media, as well as thank you, Jake. I just saw your message. I want to get Philip Perez in here because he sent a super chat, and that would absolutely suck if I missed it. Oh man, I missed a couple. Hang on. Did I get Jake S? It said, Ben, I've seen a bunch of left politicians say we should call it expand the court instead of pack the court, which is what the Republicans have done. I think it's a good idea. I'm not particularly, thank you, Jake, for that. I'm not particularly concerned with how we brand it so long as it's done. So if it's expand the court, it's expand the court. Marcos Ladota said, vote by mail is over. Vote in person. If you can't get it, if you can't, I get it. But we need to get the votes and count it and get them counted on time. So vote by mail, depending on your state, is not over because quite a few states allow you to send your ballot in so long as it's there by election day, or postmarked in some states by election day. Now, this is what's critical because the Supreme Court is signaling that they are not going to include ballots that are not there on election day. So it's not good enough to just postmark it on election day. They're trying to steal democracy from you by saying what we've done so many times in the past, which is so long as your vote is postmarked by election day, you could get that vote in. They're trying to steal that. So my suggestion is make sure that if you have a mail-in ballot or an absentee ballot, drop it off at a drop box. Don't wait. It's entirely too late to try to mail it in, because they also had Louis DeJoy as a postmaster general intentionally slowed down the postal service so that they can win the election. Okay, so if your state is one of the states that allows you to return your vote by mail, and this assumes that you already have your ballot, right? Now, if you don't have your ballot, it's a good chance every state it's already too late to request the ballot. And I think that's probably what they were saying. Requesting a ballot is probably what they're referring to. That said, if you have a ballot and you haven't returned it, you need to drop it off at a drop box. And if you don't drop it off in a drop box, you need to go get in line and vote early. John Holsovic said, a blue wave victory next week is not a solution to all the problems America has, but it's a first necessary step to save human civilization. Godspeed. Thank you so much for that. Sharon Middleton said, we voted Friday. It was packed. And here's Philip Perez. I missed it, but we found it. Thank you. Philip Perez said, I watched clickbaity political thirst trap this morning. During the Pelosi conversation, you guys seem to dislike Shahid Butler as a viable challenger. Why? P.S. I'm brand new to this. I think everybody has a different opinion on Shahid. And so you'd have to talk to the different guys. And I'm in touch with his campaign. So I just got an email connection with them, and actually we've been in touch before prior to that, but I think just have to talk to all the different guys about that one. George Dorsey, I missed him. He was like the first one. He said, when's the last time you saw Republicans work that fast? LOL. Never. Never. I missed this the other night. Adidas sweaters remind me of Michael Brooks. Shout out to Michael Brooks. Benny Loco said, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Ursula Baptiste said, get some sleep. Veronica from the UK, I absolutely will go get some sleep. Benny Loco said, is it time for a general strike? It's always time for a general strike. We just need to get it together. Fatty Antun sent a $7.99 as a super chat. Thomas Cruz said, your talking circles, we get it. Don't die for capitalism. Yeah, don't die for capitalism. Absolutely. I listen, when I say something that needs to be said over and over and over and over again, I'm going to say it in 18 different ways to make sure that it resonates in one way or the other. Madison Griffin says she was without insurance last year. Dentists and doctors gave a different level of care. When you're poor, they talk about pain management instead of fixes. I'm going to just go through and make sure I get everybody. Thank you, Reginald. Catalot, thank you. For the super chat. JB Silver, thank you for the super chat. I got Gio Francois in there. Revenge. Randy's context. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got that. Yep. Mountain of Despair. Run Local. Keep Preaching. Thank you, Rhea, for the super chat. Newsom. Andy Capon said, Ben, so much of what you say resonates. People have power. We all have agency. You're rocking this. Thank you, man. I'm just trying to do my part and encourage people as the best I can. Nick Watt said, love the retweet from Bo of the Fifth Column. Oh, thank you. Oh, you know what? I be slipping. My producer always has me prepared, and I always seem to forget. And here we are at the very end of the show, and I'm remembering to put this up. Give me a second. I want to put this up because somebody just sent the donation via PayPal, and I was thinking, wow, they must have saw my lower third at the bottom, but they didn't see the lower third at the bottom because I don't have the lower third at the bottom. Not yet. I'm dragging it over, and I have it now. There it is. If you want to support the program, support the stream, you can become a Patreon in the middle, patreon.com/the BPD show. We had the patron party on Friday night. It was dope. And if you want to just, send a tip, you can send it paypal.me/Benjamin P. Dixon. Michelle Gonzalez says they only have Cash App. Well, hey. It's Jeremy again, said JGG here. As I think you know, you running for office is you speaking my language. Shouldn't Medicare for All and Green New Deal be deal breakers too? Does your congressperson co-sponsor them? Yeah, hey, we slide it in there a little bit at a time, right? The thing that resonates with everybody right now in this moment, let me start here. You're not wrong. Absolutely, you're right. The thing that resonates with everybody in this moment is the visceral reaction they have to the fact that they are going to, one, gut Obamacare, and two, they're going to gut Roe versus Wade. Those are the first things they're going to do. They're going to probably do that as soon as the case comes before them. Matter of fact, next week after the election, the week after the election, a Obamacare decision comes in, case comes before them. So that's going to be the end of Obamacare. And then as soon as an affirmative action case comes before them, that's the end of affirmative action. Like Amy Coney Barrett is going to rule with a level of efficiency that is going to be deadly to every bit of progress that we've had through the 20th century. So I say that because I want you to understand that the most visceral thing that people can connect with right now is the need to extend the court. But sure as hell, we need Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. Thank you for that, JGG. That's absolutely excellent. Marcos Ladota said, I was talking in reference to the Supreme Court ruling and potential future rulings. Mailing a ballot might take too long, so bypass it. Yeah. So thank you for that, Marcos. I think I caught up with you inadvertently. I didn't realize that's what you were talking about. And so there you have it, folks. I need to save and preserve the rest of my voice. I've done 1-2 hours this morning with clickbaity political thirst trap. Then I did the podcast for an hour and a half, and then I did 2 other videos, and then I did a meeting. My voice is tired now. An hour and a half, hour 11 minutes of this, and I need to go to bed. So I think we got our marching orders, and we know what we got to do. Be encouraged. The biggest thing that I have not said tonight is for you to be encouraged. Hang in there. We have a path to a bigger victory than conservatives can imagine. Their only tool to stop us from getting a bigger victory than conservatives can ever imagine is if, one, they make us second guess our resolve. If they can do that, then they win. 2, if we are so afraid of challenging institutional power that we leave Democrats in power who are not willing to fight this fight for us. If we will conquer those 2 devils, our fear of being labeled as radical and our fear of challenging institutional power that doesn't serve us, if we can challenge those 2 devils, there is a progressive future ahead of us that conservatives can't even imagine. And that's where our victory is. So be encouraged. We have our marching orders, and I'll see you next time. Twitch, I'm coming to Twitch next. So, hey, this is a great idea. Everybody, come over to Twitch. Twitch.tv/Benjamin P. Dixon. I'm not going to do it all over again. I'm going to talk about a couple other things. And so if you want the overtime, come over to Twitch. That's a great way for me to get more Twitch followers. Come on over. Come on over, baby.